My name is Misha Bigov, and I'm working for Oracle. Also here is Stuart Marks, and we are going to present the right ways how to climb the OpenJDK source tree. Once upon a time, Java founders created a source tree of the Java language. The language project started in June 1991, when James Gosling and company initiated the project. The project was initially called OOC, but later it was renamed to Java. Sun Microsystems released the first version of Java in 1995. At the very beginning, the source tree was quite simple, and it was just starting to grow up. And what's next? Since November 2006, OpenJDK became an open source software under the General Public License, GPL. And the Java source code now is a big forest of repositories, and each tree inside this forest is quite complex and big. So you see this on the picture. In this presentation, we will show you how to climb this tree, and mostly how to deal with mistakes developers do, and how to avoid any issues and problems working with OpenJDK source tree. Here is the agenda of the presentation. So the first item is definitely how to avoid mistake. Then we are going to talk about OpenJDK collection of repositories, mercurial configuration, source code operations, mistakes and solutions. And definitely we will provide recommendations how to work with OpenJDK. And definitely presentation mostly focuses on the mistakes developer could make in working with OpenJDK and how to avoid those mistakes. How to avoid mistakes? General recommendations. Definitely you need to understand the source code structure of the OpenJDK. For example, if you are going to fix something in JDK and fix something in hotspot, so which repository you would like to choose? So you may implement your fix in hotspot repository, or you may implement your fix in JDK repository. So, however, your fix could be also related to both repositories, hotspot and JDK. So that's why it's better to know and to understand completely on the source tree you are working on. Second, you always need to refer to the page that describes development process. I have a link at the end of this presentation to OpenJDK guide, so you can just follow the process precisely. Definitely you need to pay a special attention to the source you integrate in OpenJDK, especially to the format of integration. Java open source has a special convention how to integrate the source code. And definitely you need to double check everything before integrating into OpenJDK. And never edit any legal notices. Also, if you would like to merge changeset, for example, the other developers did any change and you need to do some merge, you need to be careful. And if you understand the history tree structure, you know the nodes that should be merged. And definitely you should do this process carefully. So we are going to talk about merge in this presentation later. Then you need to always verify your data before pushing anything to OpenJDK. If you notice any mistake, and for example, if you already did mistake and committed that mistake into your local repository, just to do rollback and just to do everything again. And definitely you need to remember that if you do any mistakes, for example, in bug ID, that mistake could go forever into the OpenJDK source tree. And it will be really, really hard to search for that bug ID later, for the right bug ID inside the repository tree. Okay, now we have an OpenJDK section. Here is the collection of OpenJDK repositories. So each repository forest contains the root repository, which is infrastructure and just scripts to build. And also we have 6 repositories related to functionality of Java. For example, JVM repository, hotspot repository, actually it's Java virtual machine implementation. For example, JDK repository is class libraries implementation. So we have total 7 repositories, 1 infrastructure repository, and 6 repositories are related to functionality of OpenJDK. And now we'll take a look at the website, OpenJDK website of the collection of repositories. If you go to the web page hg.openjdk.java.net, you can see the huge collection of repositories. And for example, if you would like to find JDK 8 in that collection, what you need to do? You need just to put your keyword JDK 8 master keyword. If you put JDK 8 master keyword, you will find JDK 8 repositories. So that's highlighted in red on this slide, repositories related to JDK 8 project. And also you may pay attention to the mailing list. If you have any questions or any concerns related to OpenJDK project, especially JDK 8, you may just send an email to the mailing list jdk-dev@openjdk.java.net. Also, the same page contains projects. OpenJDK has so many projects. This slide shows you an example of one project. This is a project Lambda. There are also 7 repositories related to project Lambda. It's actually the full OpenJDK implementation plus also Lambda implementation in these 7 repositories. Lambda project also has a mailing list. So lambda-dev@openjdk.java.net, you may just send an email to, if you are definitely interested in project Lambda, send email to that alias, and your questions will be addressed. Okay, now OpenJDK roles. OpenJDK roles, we have general roles, project roles, and also we have groups. In this presentation, we are going to speak about general roles and project roles. First, participant. Participant is the person who subscribed to a mailing list. If you're interested in a special project, you have special area of interest in OpenJDK, you may just subscribe to mailing list and see what's going on there. You will be a participant. But participants also could submit simple patches. Contributor. Contributor is a person who signed Oracle contributor agreement. And contributor could contribute and also propose new project. OpenJDK lead. OpenJDK lead is the person who has all rights and also directs the major efforts with respect to the community. Each project has roles. There are 4 roles of each project, 4 main roles. Author, the person who actually creates the code. Committer, the person who has integration access to project repositories. Reviewer, he has authority to approve code changes. And also project lead, he has everything, all the rights, and he actually directs and coordinates all the project activities. And how to contribute to OpenJDK? First, you need to become a contributor. You need to sign OCA agreement. The OCA gives Oracle and the contributor rights to joint copyright, so they give joint copyright interests in the code. And if you're interested in a particular area of the OpenJDK, you may just send email to mailing list and you will get an appropriate reply to interest. And if you are going to change something, for example, submit a patch. If you, for example, found something you are interested in work on and found, oh, this code should be changed somehow. Okay, and I know how to change it. Okay, and I know I would like to submit a patch. Definitely, first you need to discuss your code with other developers, other engineers in mailing list. If you discuss a code, it could avoid potential any duplicate work. For example, if you announce, okay, I'm going to work on this bug and send it to the mailing list. okay, as soon as you announce it, okay, all developers would know that you are working on that problem. And definitely you will avoid any issues and you will directly work on that problem and fix it and then go through the rest of development process. However, if you intend to submit a patch, you need to work with your sponsor. Sponsor is the person who has right to push into OpenJDK tree. But if you have a contributor rights, you may push into OpenJDK directly. So we'll talk about on the next slide. But the main point is also, you should know what to expect. Only the best patches will go to OpenJDK. They should be definitely reviewed. Next, and how to work with the OpenJDK source. There is a process. First of all, you need to download the Mercurial tool. Mercurial is a source code control system for OpenJDK. And you need to do a special Mercurial configuration for OpenJDK. You need to set your OpenJDK username and extension. For example, there is a special extension jcheck for OpenJDK. So we are going to talk about that extension later in that presentation. Also, for the process, you need just to clone OpenJDK from the website location to your location. And later, to just create and implement your changes, you need to create a Mercurial change set. What is Mercurial change set? We are going to, I will show you on the next slide in this presentation. Also, if you create any change set for OpenJDK, you need to be careful and create a special change set comment before your integration. And if you, for example, create a change set which also modifies the other change set the other developers is doing, what you need to do is merge those two change sets. So you need to bring over change set from other developers and then do a merge. Definitely if it's needed. And after that, you need to commit change set into your local repository. And if everything is fine, you need your send change set to a sponsor for pushing. So if everything reviewed, everything built, you passed all the tests, you send that change set to sponsor, and the sponsor will help you to push it to OpenJDK. And definitely, if you have a committer right, you can move your change set into OpenJDK directly. Okay, now let's talk about change set structure for Mercurial. Mercurial change set is quite simple. It contains revision number inside the history tree. It contains branch, the change set branch. User should be your approved OpenJDK username. It contains date. It contains also parent change set. A parent change set is a change set on the base change set you are doing your changes. Also, it has comment, but comment section, we are going to talk about that comment section separately in that presentation, since it should be also, we have a convention for change set comment with respect to OpenJDK. And each change set definitely contains source diffs you made in your local repository. Okay, what is OpenJDK change set comment? OpenJDK change set comment is enforced by jcheck. The OpenJDK bug ID and reviewed by fields, they are mandatory. Bug ID fields must occur at least once, but it could be 2 bug IDs. For example, if you are working on 2 or 3 or 4 bug IDs, you may put in everything into one change set and put in your change set comments. So that's fine. Summary field is optional. If you would like to provide some summary what you fixed in your change set, okay, fine. And also contributed by, it's also optional field. It's mostly for those developers who, if you don't have a contributor rights, you you may specify contributor by email, and people will just recognize that you made a contribution to that change set. And also on this slide you can see example of the simple change set that we have in OpenJDK. So we have bug number, we have synopsis, we have summary, and also reviewed by. Reviewed by contains OpenJDK usernames. And this changeset doesn't have contributed by field, but it's okay. It's quite okay. Next, we are going to move to Mercurial configuration section. First of all, to work on OpenJDK, you need to get Mercurial tool. Mercurial is just open source tool. You can get it from the mercurial.ini.com website, and you just follow instructions to download it for any platform you want. It's available for Mac, it's available for Windows, Linux, Solaris, whatever you want. And also there is a graphical tool for Mercurial to visualize your source tree. To visualize your source tree, you need to have TCL/TK installed if you have, for example, Unix-based computer. If you have Windows computer, you need to download TCL/TK tool. I would recommend download ActiveTCL. I believe it's the best working if you are going to work with graphical tool with OpenJDK. Okay, and how to configure Mercurial? Mercurial has a special configuration file called mercurial.ini on Windows and .hgrc on Unix systems. It contains just username and your extensions, and also it may contain the other fields that we are going to talk about later. And username is just your OpenJDK username. Extensions could be different. We have so many extensions in OpenJDK that you may use, but we just talk about some of them here, some main extensions. Okay, for example, how to configure Mercurial graphical tool. We are going to talk about graphical tool that comes with Mercurial. Its name is just HGK, or you can run it with HGView command. So how to configure it? Just you put extension HGK in your extension section of your configuration file and put the path of your HGK to your HGK field. But for Windows users, it's a little bit more complicated. You need just to create a special file, hgk.cmd, and put into your home directory. And later, you need just to specify in your hg.cmd just two lines, path to your Mercurial and path to your HGK for your ActiveTCL. But make sure that ActiveTCL is already installed on your Windows system. And here is an example. If you, for example, downloaded Tortoise HG, and you need just specify two lines like that. But actually, Tortoise HG has its own graphical tool, and very good graphical tool. So it's actually basically implements the same visualization of the tree, of the Mercurial tree, as HGView. Okay, and now the main section of configuration is jcheck. The jcheck is the extension that should be definitely added into your development portfolio if you are working with OpenJDK. It's designed to validate your Mercurial change set. jcheck is not a part of Mercurial distribution. It's especially developed for OpenJDK project. It actually verifies everything specified on each bullet of this slide. And previously we talked about the change set comment enforced by jcheck. So if something is wrong with your change set, jcheck will check it and will validate those changes. So here is jcheck functionality. jcheck actually runs on any change set in your repository. For example, if you establish jcheck extension into your local Mercurial repository, it will validate your change set locally, so you will not be surprised when you are going to push to OpenJDK that your change set, if it's validated locally, it will not be rejected later. But if you are not validating locally, definitely it might be rejected when you are going to push into the OpenJDK. And how to configure jcheck? This slide is actually for your reference if you would like to make configuration. It should be extension field, put the path to your jcheck Python file, and also there are two hooks field. However, for advanced developers of OpenJDK, they usually don't specify hooks field, they run jcheck manually, since they use MQ extension, it's Mercurial keys extension. So for advanced users, better to run jcheck manually. Okay, and how to verify your configuration of Mercurial and OpenJDK. You always need to check your version of Mercurial. Mercurial actually supports, OpenJDK supports Mercurial starting from 0.9.4 version, but I would definitely recommend to you the latest one. And if you need to take a look at your list of available commands, you need just to run HGHelp. It's really easy. However, for example, if you didn't specify extension, for example, for graphical tool, it will not show you HGView. If you specify it, so the help should show HGView. And definitely you need to check your configuration using HG show config comment. For our case, for example, when we set up graphical tool and jcheck, you should see at least 3 fields: your username, jcheck extension, and also HGK, its graphical tool extension. Okay, now source operations. How to get the JDK code? You need just to create your local directory and then just clone the code from OpenJDK website. What you need to do is just clone first the main infrastructure directory, then run the script get_source.shell, and it will clone the rest of the repositories of OpenJDK in parallel. And then if you would like to run graphical tool, you need just to change directory to the repository you want to work and just run hgview command. Hgview command will just show you the graphical tool. And what is graphical tool? How it looks like? This slide shows the graphical tool. On the top of the slide, you see the changeset tree, the change tree structure. And on the left bottom side, you see the changeset metadata and also contextual diffs of changes, for example, you made or other developers made. And on the right bottom side, you see the files that changed by the changeset. So we are going to talk about this a little bit more on the next slide. Okay, first of all, how to get a specific build of OpenJDK. So every OpenJDK build is tagged. Every OpenJDK repository contains a special file .hg tags which contain build tags and Mercurial changeset associated with that build tag. On the Mercurial graphical tool, you can see it's marked yellow. For example, if you click to the yellow sign JDK8-build47, you will see that JDK8 builds the tag itself on the bottom and this changeset ID. And how to clone a specific build? If you'd like to clone the build 47, for example, of OpenJDK, just run command hgclone, specify -r build 47, and from where directory, from the source directory to destination directory. If you would like to clone hotspot repository, just run the same command for hotspot. And you also can visualize the source tree of that directory using hgview command. But if you run hgview command, after you did a clone of a specific build, what will you see? You will see the trimmed source tree, that not whole source tree of OpenJDK, but only just a part up to that tag, up to that build tag. Okay. However, if you are going to do the full build of OpenJDK, what you need just to clone every repository here. And if you clone every repository with a specific build, for example, for build 47, your build will be okay. But if, for example, you have at least one repository for build 48, 49, and the rest of repositories related to build 47, no one could guarantee that you will have a clean build. So that's why better to always just have a consistency of repositories with just one build. Okay, so how to look for a change set by the bug ID? You need just to specify, just for example, you know bug ID and you need to find out the changes inside the OpenJDK source tree. For example, we have a bug ID, number is 7180769 as shown on this slide. Just put the bug number into the find field and you will see everything, the change set metadata, contextual diffs, and the file changed by the change set. So that's quite easy. Okay, and if you would like to see the location of the change set in the source tree, that's definitely easy to see. It's highlighted here on graphical tool. Okay, and you may do similar on the website, on the OpenJDK website. Just put the bug number into the search field in the OpenJDK website, and you can see also information related to the change set. What you can see on website, it's only the change set tree structure. You cannot see anything, but actually there are some tools to visualize also change set tree structure on web, but for OpenJDK they are not used. They are quite complicated, I believe, if you are going to just take a look through the web. Okay, and before we are going to merging, so I will just show you a small demo related to what we just talked about. So here is a graphical tool for hotspot. And for example, we need just to find the changes, what's going on with respect to some bug. So what changed for the bug, for example, 7198130. Okay, just click on find and you will see that what changed using that bug. You see that on the left side the 4 files changed, and also contextual diff. If you scroll down, you see all the contextual diffs related to all files with respect to this change set. So it's quite easy and simple to use. And also you can see the position of the change set in the source tree. So right here you see that this change set, its comments and who created the change set, and also the date of creation. And also you may see here between which builds the change set was created. For example, we can see that change set created in hotspot 25 build 02, build 02, because the change set is located between build 01 and build 02. So that's quite easy to navigate the source code here using the graphical tool. Okay, let's move back to the presentation. Okay. Now we are going to talk about merging, how to merge effectively in OpenJDK. For example, you may have a situation when sometimes it's quite difficult to merge change sets if you have complicated source tree of change set. For example, developer wanted to do some changes and in the beginning of the source tree. So developers created several different branch starting from change set number 2 as shown on this slide. So they created change set number 5 and change set number 6. But later developers built a really huge source tree. And after that they created a problem how to merge change set number 6 and change set number 1001. For example, they have so many conflicts that's really hard to resolve, and this is the dilemma, how to merge it with change set number 6 and change set number 1001 effectively without spending a lot of time of resolving conflicts. So the first recommendation is to find a change set which is easy to merge. For example, if change set number 6 would be easy to merge with change set number 4, so that's definitely we would recommend to merge them first. And after that, after the merge, you will see the change set number 2002 is going to be created after that merge. It will be a merge change set. And after that you may try to merge it with change set number 2001. Since you already merged it with the main branch, it will be much easier to merge it with 1001. However, if it's still difficult to merge change set 1002 and 1001, you need just to try one more iteration. Try to find again change set would be easy to merge, but actually it should not be change set number 4 again. It should be the other change set 5, 6, or not even 5, 6. For example, 7, 8, starting from 7, 8 here. So that's how to merge change set, and also there are mercurial commands how to do that merge. There are a set of simple mercurial commands. For example, you need just to do hg update. First, for changeset number 4, it will update your working directory with changeset number 4. Then try to do hg merge minus R6. It means that you are going to merge changeset number 4 with changeset number 6. And later, you need to do hg commit. However, after you perform hg merge command, it may ask you to resolve conflicts. May ask you to run hg resolve, or maybe you need just to run a specific merging tool to merge your changes. So that's quite possible. So if as soon as you merge changeset number 4 and 6, you run hg commit, and after that commit you need just to run hg merge again to merge your result with changeset number 1001. So that's quite simple with respect to mercurial commands. However, it could be also after you merge what you already merged, it could be also conflicts, and you need just to resolve them. So that's possible. Okay, now we are going to mistakes section. I believe that's the most interesting section in this presentation. First of all, the most common mistake is incorrect comment inside OpenJDK. jcheck is not always catch all the OpenJDK problems with respect to mercurial change sets. For example, if a wrong bug ID is integrated into OpenJDK, jcheck couldn't catch it. If, for example, we specify 2 reviewers instead of 3, or maybe more reviewers, 4 reviewers instead of 3, that's also possible. So jcheck couldn't check it. And it's, in this case, it's possible to integrate your wrong changeset comment inside the OpenJDK source tree. And if you integrate it, it will be definitely hard to find the right changeset. For example, if you integrate the bug 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but you did a mistake, you integrated the bug 1, 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you are trying to do a search for the bug 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will never find that bug in OpenJDK source tree using the graphical tool. So that's definitely not quite good. So definitely always double check before you are going to commit anything into OpenJDK. Okay, next I would like to provide an example how easy to accidentally change legal notice. For example, developers wanted to just write the following code. So we have if statement. If statement, yeah, it's quite simple, but developers later decided to change that if statement to while statement. Okay, that's fine. They changed it if to while, but they later realized that it's not quite one place in the source code file. It's just 5 or 6 places like that, and you need to check every place. So what developer is going to do, just go to text editor and just try find it and replace feature. For example, we have just simple text editor. We are not going to talk about just complicated text editor with so many features. For simple text editor, okay, we change it everywhere if to while. And what we can see? We can see that the legal notice at the beginning of the file also modified. All if inside legal notice modified to while, which is not quite good. Definitely this problem should be fixed, since it can show you some, maybe you will just meet some consequences later if you integrate the source code with that wrong legal notice. So that's why there is a special script how to fix that legal notice. This script is integrated into OpenJDK. The script name is leads_check.shell. It checks 3 kind of legal notice: GPL, GPL class path, and BSD. That's the 3 main legal notice you can find in many source files in the OpenJDK. So what you need to do if you just doubt that something wrong in your legal notice, definitely better to run the script. For example, it's really hard to find by the human eye for some mistakes in legal notice. It could be just maybe comma, maybe just extra space or something like that. That script actually catches that error. And always just inspect your diffs. So you run the script, you found out that everything is fine, okay, you continue your work. If you found some error using that script, you need just to fix that error and just run the script again. Okay, Next, sometimes you may even cut the right branch from your OpenJDK source tree if you do incorrect merge. Many incorrect merge mistakes are really painful for many OpenJDK users because OpenJDK tree could be quite complicated. And if you even know which change set to merge with, with which change set, sometimes you can do mistakes. I'll just explain you why you can do mistakes with respect to merging. Okay, let's consider a really simple Java program. So what this Java program is doing is just print values inside the loop, print the values of variable I. So everything is quite simple. Okay, and later developers would like to modify that program. Developer number 1 is going to make the following change. Just change the declaration of variable I from int to short. Yeah, that's okay. Program is valid. Developer 1 can compile that program, can test that program. Everything looks good. No issues at all. All tests passed, and developer is happy and wanted to integrate the change set. Okay, great. And then what developer 2 is doing, actually in parallel with developer number 1. Developer number 2 is just decided to increase the number of iterations inside the loop to 33,000. Yeah, that's fine, that's good. Program is valid, the code is valid. Developer can just compile that code. No problem at all. Okay, great. And what's next? The developer number 1 decided to commit changes and they created a change set. For example, it would be OpenJDK change set number 1. And later, developer number 2 also tried to commit his changes. Okay, after the commit, developer number 2 realized that, okay, developer number 1 already integrated his change into OpenJDK, and in this case, developer number 2 needs to pull change set of developer number 1 into his local repository. Okay. And now developer number 2 sees in his development tree that there are two change set number 1 and change set number 2. And what developer number 2 is going to do is just merge the change set. Okay. Developer number 2 runs hg merge -r1 command. And what's the result of that command? The result, it will be program like this in his working directory. Program contains the declaration of type of variable I is short, but also it sees that loop contains the value of the top value of I is 33,000, which is not quite good for the type of variable type short. And you know, actually Mercurial itself didn't give any errors. Just it doesn't even suggest to resolve conflicts. It just resolves everything automatically, and you will see that picture. Okay, what happened here? Mercurial can't resolve conflict correctly here. We have to admit that. So what to do? What you should not do is just commit after your automatic merge. Just don't assume that everything will be resolved automatically. You need just to do some additional work on your change set. So first, maybe either accept developer number 1 changes or accept developer number 2 changes. If you accept those changes, so that should be okay. But you also could propose your own change set modification of the change set if it's valid. And definitely you need just to build, you need just to test. If all tests would run, that's fine. Okay, and I'm going to do the demo of this problem just in case if someone wouldn't believe that it works okay. So we will go to the terminal and see that we have in our repository one program, merge test.java. You see that text. Okay. And we already have a repository when developer number 1 and developer number 2 integrated their changes. So what we can see what developer 1 did. Okay, we will do hg update minus R1 minus C. Okay, and now we will do cut. Okay, you see that developer number 1 changed int to short. Okay, fine. Now we can compile that program. Java C merge test.java. Okay, it takes some time. Okay, fine. And now we run. When we execute that program, we can see that it works fine. Okay, and now what developer 2 did. We do hg update minus R2 minus C, and it will show us a working directory of developer number 2. We see the program has the value of I integer and 33,000 inside the loop. Okay, just try to compile the program again. It works. Then run this program. Okay, yeah, it's fine. So it compiles and it prints all values. That's great. And now developer 2 decided to do a merge. When we run that hg merge minus R1 command. Okay, it went really well, so it merged and shows you the message, just don't forget to commit branch merge. But what we see in our working directory, if we see that file, it shows you the wrong file. If we just compile that file, no errors in compilation, that's fine, but when we run it, okay, infinite loop. That's definitely not good. And what we need just to do, just to work on that file, edit it, and accept developer 1 changes or developer 2, as I told before, or maybe propose your own change, and it will work. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, here are recommendations. That's a summary of recommendations with respect to OpenJDK development. Definitely we would recommend to use the latest version of Mercurial. However, you need to always be aware of Mercurial bugs. Since Mercurial is open source and every open source development contains some bugs. And if you found any bugs with respect to Mercurial tool itself, just report them to Mercurial guys. They're actually pretty responsive, and you can find all the information how to work with Mercurial in the Mercurial guide that I'm going to provide in the next slide. And then you need to always check your Mercurial configuration. So check your .hgrc file and check your mercurial.ini file if you are on Windows. You should always have jcheck extension installed in your Mercurial configuration if you are going to work with OpenJDK. Jcheck is mandatory for OpenJDK work. And also you need just to check, use hg show config to verify if everything is okay with respect to your configuration. So everything is good. And definitely pay special attention to your changeset comment. If you created a change set and then would like to commit change set even in your local repository, you need to follow the convention with respect to OpenJDK. You need to verify bug ID for correctness. You need to verify reviewers if your reviewer field is right, and you need also to verify all the other fields for mistakes. for example, bug synopsis and all the other format. So everything should be verified really well. And if you are going, especially to do some merging, I would recommend you to visualize the source tree. So use graphical tool. Any graphical tool you want to use for Mercurial, for visualization, that would be good. And if you do a merge, you need to merge everything effectively. So I showed you example of merging, so do not assume that your changes definitely would be merged automatically. It's really complicated if, for example, you have a declaration of variables on the top of your program and the loop itself on the bottom, and between the declaration and loop you have so many lines of code. It's definitely to try to catch that error. And later you can see why you have infinite loop or something like that. So that definitely not quite good mistake when you are merging. So merge carefully and always check what you do with respect to your change set before doing any commit into OpenJDK. And definitely you need to always verify license headers before you're doing any commits. To verify license header, just run lead check program, and it should verify your change set with respect to license header inside your source file. And now I'm going to provide references to OpenJDK Developers Guide. There are two references here, and also for Mercurial Guide. And I decided to provide just two references. If you just Google what Mercurial and what OpenJDK, you will find so many other sources of information with respect to OpenJDK and Mercurial. So definitely, and also those links contain the other information and other links to the other sources. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, you may answer. Okay. First on the back. So I can hear.
Yeah, sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Can you?
What kind of IDEs and how do they set that up for
What kind of IDEs?
He's talking about Mercurial OpenJDK username, right?
No,
so
IDEs.
IDEs for so it's really hard to hear. So what kind of IDEs for development, right? So actually, I believe the person could use any IDE he wants for OpenJDK development. So we know that means Eclipse or whatever you want. So that's not a big deal. So we don't have any special convention which IDE to use in Mercurial.
So what?
It actually is hard to provide recommendation here because I know hotspot developers, some of use NetBeans, some of use Sun Studio IDE, and some of use Eclipse. So I know just different, yes, hotspot developers. So.
That documentation is going to shift to the OpenJDK documentation very soon, and we're going to provide shell scripts to load all that up for you as well. You're quite right. Previously, there wasn't really a lot of defaults. NetBeans is kind of a default. But yeah, so we're reporting to the question. We've got someone in Latvia, I think we can report to the other way. Where is that? Sorry? Where is it that you said? So there's a project on Java.net called OpenJDK. And that's where it's kind of starting, and then we're going to shift it to OpenJDK format.
Does it provide, like for debugging, stepping through code?
Yeah, that's how it works, We're still working through the instructions, and Stuart and others have been helping us with that because, there's this internal long knowledge there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
So jcheck, it doesn't do the license check?
No, it doesn't do license check at the moment, and we actually discussed that question, whether we need to create a just to modify jcheck to verify license, but later we discussed and decided to create a special separate script for that because of a little bit complexity of different licenses within the OpenJDK.
Yeah, actually there's this problem, which is different files in the repository need to have different licenses on them. And for any given file, it's hard to tell exactly what the right license is. So the license check file says, make sure this has the right GPL header in it. But if it has a BSD, well, I don't know what other license there are, but you have to tell it which license to check for, which is kind of a problem. But at least it will catch things. You can run it, you know, in a batch where it'll catch somebody accidentally introducing a typo in one of them or things like that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, just, I guess, have people here tried to put patches on OpenJDK before? I guess it's more of a comment from what we've been running across is that it's probably not quite the same as other open source projects you might have run across. There are a lot of these small tools that you do really need to run first, and it's not always immediately obvious. So I was kind of wondering for you guys, are there plans to maybe bundle some of these tools together or to make that a little bit clearer for people to run some stuff? I just found a new one about the license check today, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so license check it's in the repository itself, right?
Yeah, it's yes, it's in JDK 8, but only in JDK 8. It was integrated recently.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't know necessarily about the tools. I think it's one. It's everything's a work in progress, and it requires people from the outside to come at this with fresh eyes. One of the things, I mean, so I worked with Martijn on some stuff here, but one of the things that's actually, if you recall Misha's screenshots of the repositories, he highlighted. He said, "Oh, there's this big web page, and these are the ones you want." Well, if you go to that web page, there are hundreds of repositories, and that's, in my opinion, that's a real problem. And there are more repositories. There are forests that are replicated, and some are defunct. There's redundancy. Certain changes go into this forest, and other certain changes go into this forest, and it's quite a maze of twisty passages. And there's a lot of history and inertia for the people who work in those areas, and they work in their area, and that's how things work, right? So I think, in my opinion, that's one of the things that, and I know Martijn's difficulties getting patches integrated from the warnings fixes, right? It's like, where do these go? Who do we talk to, right? And I don't know. I work on this part, but if you're working over here, I don't know where stuff goes. So I think that's one of the things that makes OpenJDK inaccessible, and so I think that's a big problem that we need to work on.
Okay, any other questions? Okay.
So you showed the case where the merge created a problem. Any suggestion on using continuous integration to pick it up early? I mean, if people were running continuous integration locally or in small clusters together, that one, the software development I do day to day, my Jenkins server just takes care of that for me as such.
Okay, it's an interesting question. So you're talking about some convention, so how to integrate everything in source code to avoid problems like that, right? Actually, what I heard, the Mercurial developers, they tried to develop something like that, as I heard. So just to create some instructions how to do projects, how to use Mercurial for their projects, and what to do better. Yeah, but you're talking about OpenJDK, yes, just to provide that service. It's actually a good idea, I believe, for the future, but currently.
So I've worked on projects that do continuous integration, and there are many advantages to it. The fact that OpenJDK does not have one, we don't even have one internally to Oracle, and that's a problem. And we have infrastructures we have infrastructure problems internally, and so yeah, it would be, you know, it's an open source project, so all this stuff is invisible. So I think we're definitely behind the curve there. But actually, in order to really get it to work right, not only do you want to have continuous integration and builds, but you also want the tests to run and be reliable, and we don't have that either. And so if you want to hear some more information, you have to buy me a beer, and not the free IBM beer. You don't say.
Okay. That's good.
It's a fun challenge, I think. It's fun.
Okay. We have 2 minutes left. Yes. Bye. So any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah.